Alright, what else could help me right now? So I'm getting a P0302 code. Do this have any, no, let's see if this have any freeze frame. Read the codes. Read freeze frame. So let's see when it happens. Calculated load at 62, so they're definitely stepping on the X when they're warming up. Fuel trims are low. Speed of engine is 1500, so they were driving at 30 kilometers per hour, right? What else can I see? So they was driving, right, when this code act up. So what we're gonna do next is let's come out here, right? We can do an active test. Well, I wonder what they got on the active test. Do they have could they kill the coils or something like that? We could do a power balance. Let's do that. All right, so let's start the vehicle up. Matter of fact, let me start the vehicle up and show you how it sounds, and then that will be able to help us too. So the check light is on, as you can see. All right, I'm gonna just wind it blast down. So the check light is on. So, like always, what I like to do is go behind by the muffler and listen to how it's sounding. Alright, so let's see. So like I said, someone was here before because I'm seeing 3 fresh coils in place. Right, this is a supercharged Nissan Note. So they replaced the coils, they replaced the spark plugs, and it's still getting misfire, right? So what I'm gonna do is just do a RC test. I wanna kill the coil. Yes, fuel will go down in the cylinder a little bit, but I'm just going to do a quick check to just see what's if it's lacking compression, and once it is, that's it. There's nothing else to do. I could probably sync on number 2. I can do that, but if it lack compression, it lack compression. That's it. So let me just hook up my scope real quick and verify this, and we probably do follow it up with a manual compression. It's getting late, so I'm just going to do a quick test and probably verify the rest in the morning, right? But as I said, again, a P0302 code, and as I said, they throw parts already at it, so I'm trying not to do the same. Which I'm not, I'm not. So yeah, let's do our checks. So I'm using the H scope, right? It's the HS502, right? It works with any Android, whether it be a phone, tablet, it doesn't matter, right? So first thing I like to do is hook up to battery positive and negative to make sure I'm reading the voltage properly, right? And make sure that my scope is working, right? I disabled the coils, right? All I did was just unplug it. It was easy to get. It's not the one that's on the manifold. So I just disconnect all the coils. There's 3 coils, right? So I'm going to go on the automotive bit, right? First time you hook up, when you download the demo, you only have access to 1 channel, right? But the next one will be off. But because I purchased the automotive, you gotta purchase the regular one and the automotive one. It comes to like 24 US or something like that, right? You get access to the both channels. So right now I can have the both channels working, and you see that's power on, right? So I can switch. I can put on this channel also, which is number, the 2nd channel, because I have the full version, right? So I'm gonna switch off because I only got 1 channel. I don't need both of them, right? And so as I said, when you get the demo, when you download from Google Play, from Google Store, right, or you get access to the demo, then you gotta buy the license, right? And you buy the license when you purchase the scope. Whatever scope you purchase, you get access to that. It automatically connect. You see it's reading HS502 reading, so it automatically detects that I'm hooked on to the my tablet. Then I'm going to go into the automotive section. So if I go in the automotive section, I can get access to, you just have to press record, and then I could go and crank, right? So right now I'm going to do, as I said, I'm going to do a relative compression test. I got it on ×1, right? You got to download, like, you gotta go into settings and download the probes that you're using. Right, there's all the presets, I guess. Right, I'm still getting familiar with it. I'm not sure, I'm not 200 with it as yet, but I'm getting there. I just gotta keep practicing. I can put on channel 2. I don't need it right now, and it also has the math channel, like you can do different things with it. You know, you also have the overlay. You also have the overlay picture here. What else does it have? You can put labels on it if you want. They have the cursors, right? You can put 1 or 2 cursor. You can add another one, right? You just gotta slide on. This gloves is on. What else you can do? You can zoom in. If you want, you can zoom. Yeah, that's, and it's a really cool. You can do like set the. If I'm doing a relative compression test, I can set my firing order. So this firing order is 1342. In order to use this, I gotta set up a sync to know, what firing order is what. So let me, as I said, set it up so I can do a relative compression test. And yeah, one thing I like about the scope is, say for instance, I don't have a wiring diagram on me, right? This is a 3-pin coil, right? It carries a ground signal and a power, right? A 12 volts. Right? So what I'm gonna do is, this scope has the ability to work as a multimeter also, right? Where you can, what I like to do, let's check, right? I'm getting 12 volts right there. I'm straight off the battery. So you can use this also as a multimeter, right? Just go into the, you gotta make sure you set it up first though, right? If you set it too low, then it's gonna like read so say for instance I put plus or minus 1.7, all I'm gonna see the highest is 1.7, 1.6 right here. So you gotta make sure you open up the range where you gotta have an idea what you're scoping. So if, say for instance, I'm scoping a 5-volt signal, I'm not gonna set it to 1.7. I'm gonna open it up a little bit more, probably plus or minus 8 or even 16 volts. But that's you gotta make sure press the settings and set that up before you just start the probe, right? So right now I'm on channel 2. You're gonna switch the channel like this. Right, I'm on channel 2. You see just now I switched to channel 1, but remember I still got my channel 1 hooked on to AC, so that's why you're seeing the numbers going back and forth like that, right? And the engine is off. So, but the key is on, engine off, right? So I switch to channel 2. I'm just gonna verify what I'm seeing here, 12 volts, right? And I'm just gonna back probe this number 1 connector so I could get a signal while I'm doing a relative compression test. Right, so since I got that hooked up, right, plus or minus 16, that's kind of high. I'm going to go lower because I expected to see a 5-volt kick on that signal wire. I shouldn't see any more than 5 volts on that middle wire, the middle pin. So this is a 3-coil engine. So I believe if I unplug all the coil packs, the car won't start. But the problem is, I won't get any feedback from the ECU to send a trigger to the coil. So what I have to do is, I believe what I'm going to do is, I'm going to plug back in number 2, because that seemed like that's the dead cylinder anyway. So I'm going to kind of trick the ECU to believe that a coil is plugged in and let it fire, and or I can unplug one of the coils and send it out with my spark tester. I can do that. Yeah, I can definitely do that, right? So at least the ECU will believe that, yo, hey, we got a coil here, so fire. So I think I'm gonna do that. All right, so let me get my spark tester, hook it up. Do I have one of these Hantek leads? I don't need it. I just need a signal, right? So as I said, I'm gonna get my spark tester, hook it up so we can do this relative compression test. All right, so I got my spark tester hooked up. Right, I'm just using it as a dummy because I need a signal off the coil. and I got my hooked onto battery. I got channel 1 hooked onto battery, on my battery, positive and negative. I'm gonna invert this probe. Right, you gotta hit the invert right here. I'm gonna do an AC couple, right? 8 to plus, it doesn't matter really on the voltage. My rate is at 150, right? Channel 2, I got it synced to number 1 coil. As I said, the firing order is 132 on this engine. So I disabled all the other coils, so this vehicle is not supposed to start. Let's press record real quick and let's go and start the vehicle. We're just gonna step on the X, crank it for a bit, and then press pause. Alright, that's all we need. We just need some, some direction on this. Alright, let's see what's good. Alright, so the red is the channel 2, and red is channel 2, and matter of fact, let's save this first. Alright, so we're gonna save this in my photos. Oh man, they're asking for an account. Where can I save this? Probably could save it on a drive somewhere. I'm gonna save it on my drive real quick. Alright, so it's there. Alright, so what I'm gonna explain here is how I interpret this waveform, right? So we can take the key off, because we got a good capture. Take the key off, ignition off. I'm gonna just close the door so it will stop making noise. So the first thing you're gonna do after you done hook up your scope, right? What you're gonna do is make sure you know the firing order, right? It's a 3-cylinder. The firing order is 1, 2, 3 in this vehicle, on this vehicle, right? So you gotta make sure that you know your firing order, as you may take capture and then you see something that's is not, and you know better, and then you start to second guess yourself. So as I said, make sure you Google, look on Mitchell, make all data. I don't know what you use, but make sure you know your firing order before you do this kind of testing, right? So as I said, on this car, which is the MR12DDR, the firing order is 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna press record on the scope. We're gonna go in the vehicle. I'm just gonna crank the vehicle over. I'm stepping on the Alright, so when I did that test, I made sure and depress the gas when I'm doing a compression test. Reason why I do that is I want to make sure that the sufficient air is coming through the throttle. I want to make sure like the engine get a big gulp of air so he can do work. When the plate is closed, you can't move the air, and I can't, this don't have clear flood, so I'm making sure that I'm stepping on the X, that enough air is coming into the engine, right? So let's see what I get. That's too short, so let's increase the time, I guess. Alright, so let's go back in the vehicle. I'm gonna press record, and I'm gonna go in the vehicle and step on the X while I'm cranking. Alright, we're gonna switch it off. We're gonna go and press stop on our capture, and let's analyze this waveform. Alright, so we're gonna take a picture of this real quick so we can save it in our folder. Alright, so I'm gonna save this on my drive because I haven't set up my pictures, my folders yet. Alright, so let me analyze this live with you, and so you can see what I see. So the red trace is the signal on number 1 coil, right? And the blue trace is the relative compression of the battery, right? So every time the starter use or exert energy, he will increase his the amperage, right? So that's why you see this big spike. So this, they call this the inrush current, right? So the starter use a lot of energy to, you know, to spin the flywheel. So that's why he, you know, you get a high rush, you know, from start, but then after he settles down, right? But then the red spike is, as I said, is the signal from the number one coil. So what we're going to do here, you see these humps, is every time the piston comes up to top dead center, hitting every, but then you notice you get a low one, right? So let's see if that's number two. I'm going to pull on my rulers real quick. Fire all this. Hold on real quick, let's switch this up. I say, excuse me, I'm still, you know, getting used to this scope. Alright, so we just gonna bring our rulers, put it on from peak to peak. Matter of fact, let's open this up a little bit. So every time you see that number one, that red spike, that's number one coming up. Let's open this a little bit more. I'm still getting used to this, trust me. And then I'm trying to do this with gloves on. Right, I believe I got it there. Right, so every time you see this red spike, right, that's number one being fired. Firing all there's 1, 2, 3, and back to 1. So every time you keep seeing that over and over. Right, if you notice now, I'm getting a hump on number 1, no hump on number 2, a hump on number 3, back to number 1, and keep going like that. So that this waveform is letting me know that there's a dead hole in number 2. Why? I'm not sure. It could be going through the exhaust valves, the intake valves, the piston rings. Do I want to go deep in? Yeah, so what I'm basically going to tell the client, hey, you got low compression in number 2. That's why you're getting the misfire. So I don't care if you was going through plugs, coil, injectors, you name it. It could be a ECU. It wasn't going to fix this, right? So I'm going to make a recommendation that I'm going to do a manual compression test first to verify that number 2 compression is that low, and probably squirt some oil on it. If it don't come up, then I'm going to give them the option either to rebuild or have this engine replaced, depending on the parts availability and if you have the time. But if you don't have the time, you're just going to replace this engine, and we're going to call that, you know, a wrap. Right? You could put an overlay right on the compression waveform, right, which is signal, which I did, and you can see where, I'm not sure if where the compression is going, right? So yellow is intake, I believe the orange is compression, the red is combustion, and the brown is exhaust. So right, we're looking for number 2, right? And so right now we're not getting no compression on number 2, when we're supposed to be hitting compression right here, right? So if we're not getting a compression number 2, what could that be? I mean, rings. If rings could cause that, or valves. If one of the valves is like staying open for some reason, but it looks like it's on the compression. You see this yellow area here? Make me wanna figure out where that compression is going. The car is not overheating, so it's not going to the coolant. It had to be going into one of those valves, either or even the rings. Do I feel like going deeper? Let's see. Right, so seeing that this is a 2-channel, I cannot do the compression, figure out where the compression is going right now, because I need to hook up some other probes on. Right, this is just a 2-channel. I need a sync. I got my relative compression, but I need to figure out where it's going. Is it going to the exhaust, or is it going to the intake, or is it going to my dipstick? I forgot to smell this to see if it smells like gas. Nope, it smells like oil.